We got some new interesting stuff going on in LA, in the city of LA. They're passing new ordinances that scare the crap out of me, to be very honest with you. We're not even going to be able to serve a notice for non-payment of rent during COVID in LA City. Their ordinance, they just revised their ordinance, and it's insane. But I don't know if anybody here is dealing with the city of LA, so I don't want to get into all those details if that isn't something people are interested in.
I'm dealing with the city of LA.
I'm dealing with the city of LA. You're not going to be allowed to serve a notice. More people are trying to get in. Let me go let them in. Hold on. Here we go. We got people coming. Okay. You're not going to be able to even serve a notice for 12 months regarding COVID, non-payment of rent. You're not going to be able to even serve a notice for 12 months. If you do, you could be fined by the court. In regards to non-payment, nuisance, unauthorized occupants, pets, the list just goes on and on. It's ridiculous.
Does this include
This is the city of LA.
So only so Beverly Hills is different?
Correct. That would be the county. And I'm not saying this, but usually when a city makes an ordinance, the other cities kind of peek over the fence to see what they can find out about that and intrigue themselves that way.
Right. Now, my question, I don't until more people come on, for me, I have a property in Riverside County. Am I required to serve them?
Richard, you're on mute. You got to unmute yourself in the bottom corner there. We can't hear you yet. When you figure that out, we'll be able to hear you. Okay, Sarita, you got a proper... Hi.
Hi. This was the first time I had to have another number to get in. So anyway, I figured it out finally.
Yay!
Yay. And it'll be easier next time.
It will be much easier next time. So Sarita had a question. She has a property in Riverside County. What's your question, Sarita? Do you have to do what?
May 27th.
Where'd you go, Sarita?
Huh?
Okay, so you had a question about Riverside County, right?
Right.
What's your question?
Do we have to serve them that COVID renters notice?
No, the city of Riverside doesn't have disclosure of tenants' rights in their moratorium. Okay. So let me say this as simply as I can, okay? Mm-hmm. What the governor did was he slapped a Band-Aid on the state. That's the easiest way I could explain it. Basically saying, we can't evict them and they can't foreclose on us. So with those two things handled, no evictions, no foreclosures, that was his Band-Aid. Then he let each individual municipality write their own moratorium regarding the repayment of the COVID loan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So each individual city has their own rules, if you will, of what the repayment is and what those rules are. So far, only the city of Los Angeles is requiring that we disclose to tenants what their rights are. So far, that could change.
Because that deadline is on May. Well, I have to disclose that notice via email, via paper, just leave it by their front door, or snail mail.
You would serve the notice like you would serve any other notice with a proof of service. So personal service, post and mail, sub-service.
Got it. Okay. Okay. All right. And I have one last question. Oh, so want to let someone else go?
That's okay. Let somebody else go.
Okay.
You're on mute, Ron. We can't hear you. Figure out how to unmute you. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, Patty. Oh my gosh, sorry, I had phone calls. I was like, wait.
It's okay. It's okay. Go ahead. You had a question?
Yeah, I had a question. So I called you the other day with a bunch of questions I've been saving up.
I remember you.
Yeah. So I'm in city of LA, but my properties are like, brand new. So that's what I'm always confused of. Do I have to listen to the city laws or not?
Yes. Okay. So what you're talking about is the rent control. So because your properties are brand new, you don't have the rent control ordinance, correct?
As far as I know, I'm not under that SOR.
LARSO, but you're still
Yeah.
under the city's moratorium. So you still have to follow the city's laws. Those moratorium means temporary law.
Okay.
So you still have to follow the city's laws, but you're not susceptible to the rent control ordinance. So everything else applies to you, just not rent control.
Okay, so I served to all the properties. I served them the notice of like COVID.
Notifying
and all
them
that,
what
but-
their rights are.
Yeah, but I heard there's a new thing we have to serve them again.
Well, something just came out and about yesterday.
Yeah.
Ronald, you're still on mute. Just so you know. I can see that you're muted and your mouth's moving, but I can't hear you. I know. Okay, so City of LA has just amended their moratorium, added an ordinance. We're not even in the City of LA going to be able to serve a notice for 12 months, pretty much.
But if we don't serve a notice, then it's fine. Like,
If you serve a notice, you have 15 days to retract the notice before they can sue you for harassment, blah, 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 blah.
okay.
Again,
Yeah.
does anybody have anything in the City of LA that is, let me ask this question. How many people have a good head start on their rents for this month?
I do.
Yay!
What?
On their rents. Everybody was so freaked out about tenants not paying rent, and we're really not seeing that.
Oh, I have all my tenants, except for
Would
one.
is anybody having a problem with rent collection? Let me put a statistic here for you. I have a sister friend company, if you will, that I help. They have 120 doors and 5 delinquent rent payments for this month. Nothing for last month.
I've got one person that's been an issue beforehand, and there's still an issue. Unfortunately, I was being nice, and now I'm stuck. I'm gonna have to be nice.
Oh, see how that works? It's
Yeah.
business. Always just business. Be nice somewhere else, just not with your business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 113 units,
Mhm.
and we only had some that weren't paying part of their rent the first day, and this month, and it was about 4 that were relinquent, but it wasn't bad, and some of them are paying now in the middle of the month.
Right,
So,
right.
this
And that
isn't anything
happens.
I expected.
Right. And we're seeing more money coming in than we thought we would see. Would you guys all agree with that statement?
Yes.
Yes,
Everybody's,
Yes.
yes. So what are they scaring us for?
yeah, exactly. I'll tell you why. They like power.
No, you can't tell me why. You don't know.
Power, politics, power.
I didn't say that.
You just said it. Right.
So I just want to remind you guys, with everything that you hear that's going on and all these scary things, the government and all, be mindful that we're really not seeing that as a whole affect us the way we originally thought it would. We thought we'd be battling with tenants by now and beating them over the head trying to get them to pay, and that's really not the issue. We do have those few that are going to push the limits and the boundaries because that's what they do best, but that's normal. You always have those challenges, you know? That's what keeps us on our toes. Yes, Ronaldie, you have a question?
Yes, I have 4 vacancies because I finally finished with my project for that building.
Okay.
So, and I put it on Zillow and Hot Pads, and I get all these ones that are not qualifying, my standards.
Mhm.
And so
They don't meet your criteria is the
Yeah,
correct
they-
verbiage.
right, they don't meet my criteria, everything we've spoken about, and I'm like, I bleed every month. but I'm thinking, is this better that I'm bleeding than versus having non-qualifying tenants and dealing with the people who are not going to pay?
Most definitely, but you may want to reconsider the demographic of your area, okay? And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
If you have a property in Newport Beach and you want $5,000 a month and you want a FICO score of 750 or higher, and you must make 3 times the amount of the rent.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
Now, your demographic for that and surrounding areas, you're more likely to find that type of tenant in that area.
Okay.
If you were to have that criteria, you must make 3 times the amount of the rent, have a FICO score of 750, and that property was located in Inglewood, how do you think you'd rent the property?
Yes, I get it.
So you may have to, because this is a new venture for you, you have to test the water. Set your requirements too low, you're going to get inundated with BS. Yeah. Set your requirements too high, you're not going to get them rented. So what you need to do now is gradually start coming down and lowering what you were asking for so that you find the balance. The key is finding the balance, because you don't want to move trash in there, because then you just spend your wheels taking the trash out.
Yeah. So, do you lower the criteria, Patty, from FICO score, and or do
you may want to lower the FICO score? Are you doing virtual tours right now?
No.
Okay.
No.
So go through one of the units with your iPhone. Okay, go real slow. Now we're into the kitchen, we're into the living room. Show the unit that way and post those videos on there. If they really like it and they've seen it virtually, tell them before final approval, you are going to have to do a physical walkthrough, but that also gives you the time to have them apply without you even having to step foot on the premises.
Okay.
So now you have their credit report. They did the virtual tour and you're screening them. Is this somebody I could use? Do they meet my criteria? Do I need to move on? So it's giving you a leg up.
Okay. So
I don't suggest that I would spend money doing those virtual tours right now for a smaller venue. Example, if I had 250 doors in a multifamily community or 100 doors, I'd pay for the virtual tour. If I'm doing 10, 15 units, I'm going to go do it by hand.
Right.
I'm not paying a professional. I don't want to spend the money.
Can I make a comment for Renelle?
Of course, Stacy.
So just so you know, Renelle, this is something I'm just
wait, Stacy. Her name is Ronnalee.
Oh, Ronnalee, I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
I can
We're all
barely
friends
see
here.
The names. They're tiny. I'm so sorry.
We're all friends here. And this
Ronnalee.
is Stacy. Could you introduce?
I am so sorry.
Stacy, could you introduce yourself really quickly just so we know who you are and a little bit about you?
Oh, sure. So I'm Stacy Cabanegro. This is my mom, Colleen Kelly. We're with Smart Property Services in Claremont.
Okay.
And we're navigating through this just like you all are. It's been wild. We manage about 120 some units in the Inland Empire. And of course, now that we're not able to show properties physically, I had to kind of scramble and figure out how am I going to show these to folks and get these places rented when I'm here in my office. So what I did was I took my iPhone and I went to the property early. I opened all the doors and the windows and the lights and blinds and all that. I started at the front door and I just made my way through the property. And then I went on YouTube and I signed up for a YouTube account with my email address. I was able to upload the photos or the video, and I just basically made a folder for each property. Mm-hmm. And then it gives you a link, and that's what I would do is respond to folks when they had an inquiry through Zillow or Truly or whatever it was. I would just let them know the property was available. Due to COVID-19, we were unable to hold open houses, but here's an alternative. Here's a link. If you want to apply, this is how you apply. And I was able to rent 4 properties last month and this month. with no problem. And then once the folks applied and they were people that we wanted to proceed with, they met our criteria.
Right.
I let them know before we proceed with a lease agreement or collecting any funds that I wanted to meet them physically at the property. So they brought masks, I brought hand sanitizer, booties. So, you know.
Bubble wrap.
So it's doable. And let me tell you, if I can figure out YouTube and uploading a video there, anybody can. It was fairly simple. So just so you know.
And you found them, Stacy, through like the hot pads and Zillow, all those places?
Yeah, so we're really fortunate with our website. When we syndicate our properties online or on our website, it syndicates automatically to a number of websites.
Okay.
But if you I don't know if you're a property manager for yourself or others, but if you start a Zillow account, Zillow will syndicate on your behalf to Trulia, Hot Pads, and some other housing websites. And those are some of the biggest websites that people are going on.
Right.
So that's where we tend to get all of our inquiries is Zillow, Trulia, and Hot Pads. Those are the three bigger ones.
Stay away from Craigslist. It's a
Yes.
cesspool for fraud.
Yes, don't they'll hijack your photos and your property.
And then they rent your property to somebody that you don't even know anything about, and they just show up and they're like, "Hi, I moved in yesterday," and you're like, "Who are you?"
Yeah. Or you get those folks that are like, they call you and they say, "Oh, well, it seemed too good to be true that you were renting a place in Claremont for $1,000." It's like, no, this is $3,000. Oh, I'm not interested. Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, Patty, I have about the fraud, because I'm getting phone calls from people like from New York and other states who say they want exactly what she said. I will give them a virtual video tour, and then they say, can I apply online without seeing it? And so my question to you is, what if when they do all the application and they say, I don't have time to see, and I want to have access to the property as soon as I arrive? That's a no-no, right, Patty?
Right. If at some point before you sign contracts and get into the legal aspect where you agreed to rent to them, they need to physically see the property. If they can't make that happen, then this isn't the property for them.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to clarify, because I find that there's some sneaky callers trying to say, I want to get in, I won't go there until I get the signed lease. And we're not going to do that. So.
I love that. That's a good one. I won't even go there until I have a signed lease. Well, unfortunately, then you're never coming here.
Okay.
And this is our criteria. And Patty helped us put that together, and it clearly states you must view the property before applying. I probably could update this due to COVID-19,
Right.
but you know, I'm not going to do a sight unseen with anyone.
How many days after they were qualified with the criteria?
So I require within 48 hours of approval for them to deliver the first month's rent and security deposit, and then we write a lease agreement. So I basically said, you have 48 hours to view this property. If you don't, I'm moving on.
And you move on. Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
And they have, and the woman or the people I leased to while we were showing the property, they handed me that cashier's check. They knew that I had a number of other people I was going to rent to. So if it's important to them, they'll bring that money.
Yep. And it really does help us being able to utilize the virtual aspect with COVID-19 right now, because it's allowing us to reach outside of our boundaries, if you will, and take an application before they view the property because of COVID.
Mm-hmm. And I think this is actually the new way I'm going to do business going forward. I know probably many of you have confirmed appointments with people. You drive an hour to get to the property, and then nobody's there. Even after you said, just give me an hour's notice. Like if you can't make it, just call me.
my favorite is when you show up and you're there and they're like, oh, was that today?
Yes.
Yes, it was today.
So I think this is the way it's really helped me to weed out the garbage. If you're really serious, you're going to apply and you're going to be a good tenant.
Yeah, I would agree.
Hey, Patty, so we actually have a question for you, if it's okay to ask that real quick.
No, that's not why I made this platform. It wasn't so we could all communicate.
Well,
What
Patty,
you got?
I have two owners who do not want to renew lease agreements. One owner has a family member who wants to move into the property, and the other one, the owner wants to sell.
Okay, what cities are they in?
One is in San Dimas where the relative will move in, and the other
Okay.
one is in Upland where the owner wants to sell.
Both in LA County? No.
No,
Is
Upland
Upland? Upland's not LA County. Yeah. Okay.
Upland is San Bernardino.
Okay, don't worry too much about the Upland property, and this is just me talking to you. Once the restriction is, I'll read the moratorium for the city of Upland. I don't believe they have any restrictions regarding terminating
Right.
tenancy.
Okay.
As for the other one, tell me again what city it was in?
It's in San Dimas.
Okay, and have you read San Dimas's moratorium regarding COVID?
I have not. I
Okay, I will review that for you today and then get back to you with an answer.
will. Okay.
I think you're gonna be okay. The city of LA, do you guys have anything in the city of LA?
No.
Good, keep it that way.
We're not doing any business there.
It's okay. It's just quite challenging right now. They passed a new ordinance where landlords aren't even going to be able to serve notices for 12 months after the COVID
We just
issue is
read that.
lifted.
Yeah, just read that.
Yeah, it's scary. And now we could even be fined or penalized for serving a notice. So they actually gave us a 15-day window to retract a 3-day notice if we serve one by accident.
Whoops.
What if somebody wants to sell their place? Like, I would get the heck out of LA. You would have to serve a notice saying I'm selling. So now you're stuck for a year. To me, that is unconstitutional. You cannot.
I'm trying so hard. I almost want to say, if you have a rental investment property in LA, just give the tenant the keys and transfer the mortgage into their name. but that's not how I feel. But it's just becoming extremely difficult for us to do business in the city of Los Angeles with all the restrictions that they're placing on homeowners. I mean, they're all about benefiting the tenants, but in the meantime, they're running us owners out of the business.
Right.
We want out of LA. I have property in LA. I want out. I have property in Inglewood. I want out of Inglewood. I get you. I feel you. I got skin in the game. But yeah, it's become like World War III almost.
Well, and my question is too, and I'm so sorry, I'm sure everybody else has questions, but
if they got questions, we can all ask them. We're all powwowing, girl. It's good.
because I'm in the Inland Empire, you know, I hear Los Angeles and I think of one place, Los Angeles, but Los Angeles has a number of pockets. So,
we're talking about the
Los
city.
Angeles?
The city of Los Angeles is the most restrictive.
Okay, so if you have a Los Angeles address, that's what we're talking about. Inglewood
has their own municipalities, has their own ordinance, has their own rent control initiative.
Okay.
Santa Monica does. Beverly Hills does. I mean, they all have their own little pocket, if you will.
And they're worse than Los Angeles City.
Yes. Santa Monica?
Santa Monica, West Hollywood, yes.
So when it comes to the Hollywoods, West Hollywood, North Hollywood, let me teach you guys a trick, okay? I learned that the Wicked Witch of the West is the worst one when it comes to Hollywood. It's West Hollywood that's most restrictive. And that's how I remember that one, just so you guys know.
Wicked Witch of the West.
Hey, I am blonde. I got to remember some of these things somehow, you know?
Well, so I'm like still in denial because like to me this is like saying like like telling people they can just go into stores and steal all they want each month and just say,
They
oh, I
can.
can't afford it because
They
of
can.
COVID.
Because they won't even get arrested. They just get a ticket.
Yeah. So
No bail.
like I just think like somebody's gonna make some law that says like we have to get some kind of help from the government because
Well, they are going to offer us some kind of programs and they are going to offer us some kind of help, but it's going to be minimal based on, but my question becomes help for what? How many of us have tenants where this is actually an issue? You get what I mean?
Yeah.
If you have 100 doors and you only have 5 people not paying rent, that's 5%, right? That's nothing. We can still function on 5% and weed that out. Everything is scaring us of, oh, tenants are getting this and tenants are getting this and tenants are getting this and they're getting all these rights. But the reality is they're also paying the rent. Would you not agree?
Yes,
Yeah,
So what are we worried about?
exactly.
I mean, it has to do with the media is trying to scare us a little bit, but if they're paying their rent and they're doing everything that they're supposed to and we're not having an issue, why is this a problem? And why are we making more laws? It doesn't make any sense. But then again, neither does bureaucracy and bullshit most of the time.
Yeah.
Okay, I know you got another question. Somebody, I hear you whispering. No?
I need to get my stuff rented, Patty.
Well, let's get you doing some virtual tours. What Stacy's doing is working for her. It's pretty simple. Did you do some of the minimal staging we had talked about?
Yes, I have
Good.
them. It's just, I spent quite a bit of money on this, and it's like I'm really looking for, amiable tenants that won't take me to court for. I don't want to go back to court.
Life can happen to anybody at any given time, okay?
And
There
so
is-
now I'm like, okay, it's like Fort Knox. Like I don't want the bad tenants. Like truly.
The other thing that you can do if that's seriously a concern of yours, because how many units do you have? 8?
I have 4. Yeah, I have 8, but now I have 4. That is.
You have 4. You can always reach out to Eric at Reassure Rent and buy that insurance policy for that tenant, where if it's default, so if they don't pay the rent, you're covered. So it's default insurance against a new incoming tenant. It runs about $400 a year off the top of my head.
Can you send I'd like to have that guy's phone number, Patty. This is
Eric at Reassure Rent, not a problem. I'd be more than happy to give it to you. Good guy.
Okay.
He's a nice guy to have in your arsenal, just so you guys know. He's an attorney as well.
Well,
It's kind of nice to know those.
That's another thing that you can do to turn sort of maybe a little bit of a negative. Maybe like I'll be totally honest with you. I rented a property just a few weeks ago.
Right.
The woman had an eviction. It was about 5 years ago. There were 3 adults, 2 of them great income, great credit, no problem. She had good income, but she had this eviction. She claimed she didn't quite know about it. She moved out. Boyfriend had some issues. She had an eviction. Okay. So what we ended up doing was we charged a much higher security deposit. And I basically told her, we're taking all the risk by taking you on, and I want to help you. So what we did was we charged 2 times the monthly rent for the security deposit. And I charged her an additional $50 per month for rent to cover my owner having to purchase that insurance policy. So my owner is not out any money.
Okay.
And if you're desperate enough to find housing, you're willing to pay that extra money. And they were.
And let me just throw one more protection in there for all of us. Whenever you change the original terms of which they applied, and I'll give you an example. I'm going to rent a house from Ronnalee and she's charging me $1,000 a month. Only now, $1,000 a month and a $1,500 deposit. Only now Ronnalee ran my credit and she's not real happy about that. So she's going to add $50 to my rental payment every month to cover the cost of the insurance policy, and she's going to increase my deposit by double. Now, I have to deny her with an adverse action notice. She would have to deny me in order to give me new terms that I'm applying under. So whenever you increase the deposit, change the rent amount from when they originally applied, you want to make sure you have that adverse action notice on file, that you did formally deny them and you presented them new terms. So very important that you do that, okay?
What paper is that?
That's the adverse action notice.
Adverse action. Okay.
Anytime you're denying them under the terms they applied and giving them, help me you guys, new terms, suggested terms, I don't know, something else. Something different. Yeah, revised terms, you have to deny them from the terms they originally applied. And then you can move forward with charging double the deposit and seeing if they still want to come and rent with you. So just make sure you do that adverse action notice anytime you're denying the original terms of which they applied.
I have a question.
Okay.
One of the properties I manage is in Brentwood, and the Brentwood prices were pretty high. One of the tenants, who's an excellent tenant, his unit does not, it faces another building that's not prime location in the building. He just asked for a $400 rent reduction. What is your opinion on reducing rents to people?
Does he have a written contract?
Yes, he's been in there for 1 year. His lease is up.
Unfortunately, at this time, we're not viewing rent reductions. But in the future, if that were to happen, you'll be the first to know.
But why are you saying that? What if we want to keep him? He'll move out.
Good.
He's not going to move out amongst a COVID pandemic because you're not going to adjust the rent by $400. And
Yeah,
since when do we let tenants call the shots?
There was 2 people in there. His roommate already moved out. His lease is up right now, the end of this month, May. So isn't it better to keep him than to risk losing him and trying to find a new tenant?
Well, that's up to you at this point.
Well, yeah, I know, but I wanted to
How
ask.
desirable are your units? How quicker can you turn that unit over? And is it worth a $400 deduction?
It's worth a $300 deduction. So we can.
Well, then offer him a $200 deduction and see if
Okay.
you guys can meet in the middle.
Right. But there's nothing wrong with, and are we allowed to sign a new lease with him or just month to month?
You can do a new lease, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Am I allowed to, like that one tenant that's not paying me, am I allowed to just hire a property manager for that one person? But the property manager can't really do anything because people can't be kicked out anyways in LA City. Yeah. I just don't
I
feel
love
like doing
it
all that
because you
paperwork
answered
every
her.
month.
You answered your own question.
Yeah, yeah, but like I don't want to do paperwork every month and say like, oh yeah, okay, you paid me, you know, $600.
Hold on, hold
Now
on.
you owe me. Now you owe me.
There
There's
is no
no
paperwork.
I thought I
There's
have to
no
do like
paperwork.
an addendum, like okay, like
Nope.
like a
do
payment
that.
plan or something.
Nope.
Nope.
Don't do
Rent
it.
is still
You're gonna hear
due.
Stacy, don't do it. Rent is still due as scheduled as per your legal written contract. Once you rewrite that, that's when you start adding so many caveats your attorney wants to pull their hair out. Leave your lease alone. Keep your ledger. If they owe you money, then show that balance on your ledger as reoccurring. Make sure you don't have any late fees on there or any fines, fees, or penalties for the COVID loan, but your ledger and your lease should be all you need.
Right.
Okay. So
Right now,
so
you can't serve a notice. Your hands are tied. There's not a whole lot you could do. So why hire a manager? And this is me being straight honest with you. Why hire a manager? Because their hands are just as tied as yours are.
Okay, so can I tell you what I've been doing? And you told me not to do this before, but like, so like, how do I fix it from here? And how do I start doing the right thing?
Okay,
so like
you can
this
always
person,
change your process and procedure, but sometimes we have to ask an attorney how we correct what we screwed up. But go ahead. What's your question? Let's see if we can work through it.
okay, so like she seems like she's eventually gonna get me paid off. At one time, like I mean, she started like she was getting further and further behind, and then she got like 8,000 behind, and then she was paid off to like just 1,000, just owed me 1,000, and then now she started getting behind again. So and now I can't kick her out, but so So like what I've been telling her is like each month when she pays me partial, sometimes more than the full month's rent, sometimes less. I just like I know I'm not supposed to text, but I text her. I go, "This is your receipt. Can you confirm the receipt? You owed me 3,000. You paid me 5,000 today. I mean 500 today. So now you only owe me 2,500." And then she'll say, "Yes, I confirm." And each month or each time she makes me like a cash payment, she confirms that. I say, "I received a cash payment of 500 today or 3,000 today." And then so we just like, and I just always give her the running tally, and I'm nice, and only when she pays me. So I'm not what do you call it, like I'm not harassing her. Yeah, I'm not harassing her.
So you're giving her a receipt and letting her know her account balance that's due, and she's confirming it. And this is the way you give receipts, is via text message per her request, correct?
Yes.
You're not doing anything wrong.
Awesome. That's so much easier than serving paperwork and like taking it to the mail place and certified mailing it or whatever.
Right? Welcome to being
so
a property manager.
Okay. That's a lot more relieving because I could just keep doing it that way and I'm happy. And I think she'll eventually pay me, actually. It's just she's a pain in the butt. That's all.
Well, I totally get that, and I understand, and she most likely will. But remember, you don't have to tolerate it for long, just until we get through this COVID thing and the city of Los Angeles's new moratorium that's extended, which would be a year after. I'm telling you, it's 12 months.
But I won't have to prove I gave her some kind of like payment plan, like option, like option to pay me back. Because if I try to set up a payment plan,
stop. Don't even go into that whole rigmarole. Just work with me. Rent was due. It was either paid or it wasn't. Okay.
Okay.
Here's your rolling total of the rent that's now owed. We're past all that time. Here's a 3-day notice. You have 3 days to pay me the balance or get out.
Okay.
So,
and when should I start doing that 3-day notice thing?
You can't for at least 12 months. So just keep your ledger current. Don't worry about notices right now.
Okay, good. Okay.
Okay.
Patty.
Yes.
I have a tenant who didn't in Beverly Hills who did not pay their rent. I gave her notice.
Did you give her the COVID notice?
I gave her the renter's notice and I gave her the COVID notice to show in writing unable to pay their rent, right? And that one.
Okay.
And I emailed that to her. So my question to you is, I know that the other guy was doing
No, you don't want to email them their notification of their rights. You need to serve that like you would any other notice.
I sent it by mail with certificate of mail, proof of mail. Is that okay?
Well, it would be personal service, post and mail, or subservice, the same way you serve a notice.
Okay, but my question is, as far as what you just said, they're next month, starting June 1st. Do I email her and say her rolling balance if she doesn't pay June? Are we like?
Nope. Don't.
Email,
nope.
Text, nothing.
No, because once you start making payment arrangements and once you start taking that money owed and you take it away from the lease and make it like a promissory note or a promise to pay, then eviction court no longer enforces that. Only small claims. Can you get possession in small claims?
No.
You can only go after the money. So as much as I want to tell you that there is a tool to help keep the calm, know that it also basically takes away all the protections you have as a landlord in your rental agreement. So leaving your lease alone as a whole and just keeping your ledger current is the best thing you can do. Least amount of paperwork. If the city's moratorium requires that you disclose what the tenant's rights are, then by all means do that, but don't do anything else. And as far as notices in the city of LA, I wouldn't be serving a notice at least for 6 months before I talk to anybody.
Okay. And then last but not least, this new form called the COVID-19 Renter Protection Fact Sheet that you just said we have to serve it like we would serve any other document with that we are the process server. I don't see on the form anywhere where it shows who posted and served this? Is it another?
Just use a proof of service document for
And
that.
attach it to each one? No, I don't have to
Yes.
attach it to each unit.
Hold on. The proof of service is your document. The tenant doesn't get a copy of it.
Okay, got it. I remember that. Okay, so just can keep it for myself that I served on the front door.
On
And
this day at this
On this
time, and this is the way I did it. Yep, that's
for
all.
all 19 units.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
And that's only in the
And then-
city of Los Angeles.
What
And then
about, oh,
first class mail, is that like, 'cause I also mail it. I serve it on the door and I first class mail it. That's just a regular forever stamps, right? To mail it.
Yes. Do not use certified mail unless you are terminating tenancy or increasing rent. So if you're giving them a 60-day notice to vacate, you want to serve that certified mail. If you're raising the rent, it wants to go certified mail. Because what's the first thing they say? I never got it.
Okay.
So certified mail on rent increases and terminating tenancy. Other than that, unless your legal counsel recommends it, it's not required. Don't waste the money. Because let's face it, most tenants that are tenant educated, if we'll use that as a word, tend to not sign for things that are certified mail.
but
So
there's
don't spend. Oh, that doesn't happen, right, Ronald? Never. Yeah,
what
just
about certificate of mail? It's just called proof of mailing slip where no one has to sign for it. I use that all the time.
I understand that. And if a judge sides with you that that's acceptable, then so be it. But a proof of service is what the court recognizes.
Yeah, that's what and how do you get proof of service? From the certificate of mailing, right? That's what
No. Proof of service is a court recognized document that
The one
says,
sign. Okay, got it.
yes, due to penalty of perjury. That is what's recognized by the court.
Okay, got it.
Patty, I have a question that it doesn't necessarily.
I need a
pertain to-
haircut. I'm so glad you guys that we're all friends.
This doesn't necessarily,
Richard, I'm like, that's a problem.
this question doesn't necessarily pertain to COVID-19. It has to
Okay.
do with assistive animals.
Okay.
We have a tenant who has a service animal
You
and
guys
an
got to see this.
assistive
My dog is right
animal.
here. He won't leave me alone.
animal.
He's shaking the camera, scratching himself. I'm like, no way, Bugsy.
He looks tough.
I know that HUD came out with new guidelines January of 2020. When we collected the paperwork from her, it was before these new guidelines. You needed, you could get a doctor's note. She just gave us a certificate. And, back then I was like, okay, no problem. Here's the assistive animal addendum. Great, sign it. But now I've just out of curiosity, when we renew the lease, can I ask her to sign that documentation addendum to like recertify that they still need it?
You can. You can. Okay. But here's me talking to you. If you actually know that somebody's disabled and they have, who knows, maybe they're a veteran and they have a service animal now. And you know there's a genuine need for that. Are you going to ask them to recertify every year?
No, I don't want.
Hold on.
Okay.
So why are you going to ask somebody that you're questioning to recertify every year? Because you got to treat them all the same.
Yeah.
So if we're treating everyone the same, that means the guy that has no leg on one side is in a wheelchair and has a dog that pulls him around in his wheelchair, you're asking him to get recertified also, just so you're aware of what you're saying.
Okay. Got it.
Okay? Because you got to treat everybody the same, especially when it comes to disabilities.
Mhm.
As far as treating,
Oh, go ahead.
as far as treating everybody the same, so if I ever did have too much trouble with one tenant, could I hire a property manager just for that one tenant at a fourplex and not the other people? Or would
Yes,
that
you
be-
could, but you would still be ultimately responsible for how they're being treated in fair housing laws. So
Okay.
hire a manager that knows what they're doing.
Okay.
You get
All
me?
right.
You're
Yeah.
ultimately responsible for everything that comes out of their mouth.
Okay.
So be mindful of that, okay? Hiring a reputable company that has the proper certifications, documentations, and has answered all the questions properly would be a better choice than just somebody that said, I'll do it for you.
Yeah. All right.
So be mindful. Just remember, our hands as property managers, and Stacy will tell you, Richard will tell you, we're all property owners and investors. Our hands are tied. For you to have the inception that a property manager's hands aren't tied scares me because we're all the same.
Yeah. I just hate delivering paperwork and like
I get it.
finagling
I get
with
it.
the tenants.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm here too, is I'm here to help you. Okay, this is a document you need. Here's what you do. You fill this out, you do this, you handle that, and you're good to go.
Yeah, and I was worried about like because since I'm not under LA City, like since I'm the properties are new, I was worried. I didn't know which form to fill out for AGLA. Those forms that are on the Apartment Association of Greater Los Angeles' website. I didn't know which form to fill out, and which form to notify them with. So I just printed them all out and I sent it all to them, and posted it all to them,
That's awesome.
all in Spanish, all in English.
I love it. That's hilarious.
When
Yeah, I
in
put a bunch
doubt,
of stamps on the
disclose.
envelope.
Oh,
When in doubt, disclose everything.
right.
Real estate 101. I love that. Actually, AGLA has a great advisory staff that can help you, assist you over the phone. I believe it comes free with membership, so they can tell you when to use which form. Their advisory staff is very efficient on their forms and their documents, but may not be able to give someone like Stacy or Ronally a better business practice for handling their day-to-day operations. But when it comes to specifics, they're extremely knowledgeable.
Okay.
Okay, so just keep that in mind. They may not be able to tell you what a better business practice would be with a certain problem you're dealing with, but they will be able to tell you what notice to use, how to fill it out, etc.
Okay.
Okay, just
Yeah.
so that you kind of understand the steps there.
Yeah.
AGLA's forms are comparable or better than CAA?
It just depends. The language is there. You're asking me to pick AGLA over CAA or CAA over AGLA, and I'll tell you, one is only recognized by the state. AGLA is recognized on a national level.
Okay.
Okay, so the California Apartment Association only covers the state of California, nothing else, nowhere else. So if you're with AGLA, and let me give you an example, and you have a property in New Mexico, AGLA, because they're a national affiliation, can give you assistance where you need it in other states.
I mean, you're making a mistake. You mean CAA is a national.
No.
Apartment Association.
California Apartment Association covers the state of California only.
Only, but AGLA is nationwide.
They used to be a long time ago. And
Richard used to be a president of AGLA, so let's hear what he has to say.
Yeah. But you're absolutely right. The CAA was working with the national, and they had a big fight, and they don't do it anymore. They're only California. But they're what you get from them is good, but it doesn't go beyond the California, like you said.
Right.
You can't do it.
Right. But if you're with AGLA and you have a property in New Mexico or New York, and you now need assistance, you can ask AGLA and they'll give you the national affiliate in the area you need assistance with. So AGLA is recognized on a national level, and CAA is only the state of California.
See, we strictly use car forms. I don't deal with a whole lot of apartments, and I really do not like the lingo in the CAA forms. It's very apartment specific. And I feel like when I'm dealing with a single family home, I don't like the verbiage sometimes. I'm not renting an apartment. So I tend to use the CAA form, or excuse me, the car forms There are forms that I do use on CAA, like CAR doesn't offer the assistive animal disclosure and addendum. So
So you use additional addenda from other places.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. So, and I love this, the CAA, the font on CAA forms. CAR, it's very small. So going through those with a tenant, it can get a little lost, but.
Do you know why? Do you want to know the why?
I think I might know why, but you go ahead.
The why is that California civil procedure says that all legal contracts regarding rental housing has to be written in 10-point font.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So we usually put it in 11. And I do AGLA, but my son does CAR.
Okay.
So,
Everybody's different. Tomato, tomato. If it gets the job done at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
I would be, because I've been on the fence about becoming an AGLA member. I'm a CAA member and obviously a realtor with CAR. I'll connect with you on a different time, Patty. I'm curious what their leases look like compared to the CAR leases.
AGLA's leases?
Yes.
well, they had bigger letters. And I kind of like that because my eyes are getting old.
No, I completely agree with you, and I love that, but I don't want forms that are targeted more towards apartments. We're mostly single family and condos. I have very
yes, sure.
so cool.
All
Yeah,
right. Well, I'd be more than happy to review that with you at a later date, and we can talk about that and go from there.
Can I ask one more question, and I swear I'm done?
You can, and then I have another meeting I need to get to, but I want to invite you guys all back next Wednesday. I think we're going to have a special guest with us.
Oh, cool.
You never know. Could be an attorney, could be, you know me, you never know who's going to show up.
Do you know if AGLA offers vacation home rental lease agreements?
They do not, to the best of my knowledge, offer short-term rental agreements. In fact, you're going to have a difficult time finding someone that does. And I know what this has to do with, and I will help assist you with that later this week.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Thank you.
Okay, just so you guys know, Stacy has just gotten involved in the vacation rental management for her own use. So she wants to try to rent out a vacation home. So, and that's how I got started in this industry. So, hey, there you go.
Patty, this is Sarita. I'm going to call you too because I'm trying to rent out a vacation home too in Palm Desert. So okay, so I'd like to get that contract that you say you have.
We'll have to do a call together so you don't have to say it twice.
All right,
You got it. We'll set up a Zoom meeting at a later date for those of you doing vacation rentals.
Great. Okay, thank you.
That phone number the phone call that I got about a half an hour ago was Michael Millman. And he is, I think you know Michael.
I know
He calls
Michael.
me at least once a day, every day. And
I'm
his
sorry.
son works for Eric. In fact, he writes everything that Eric does. Everything that goes into the, well, everything he says when he's on television is written by Michael's son, Jeffrey Millman. Anyway, and Eric used to be a good friend of mine, and he just went bad. And I don't know, Michael, I know, is trying to get Jeffrey to get him a little bit more on our side. But you see what happens.
Hey, Well, we can hope, right? All right,
Yeah.
I got to get to another meeting, guys.
Okay,
I'm going to
me
end
too.
this. I will see you next Wednesday.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.